History is full of decisions, some brilliant, some disastrous. But a few decisions shaped the entire world as we know it today. From the mightiest empires to the smallest inventions, the course of human history has been steered by pivotal choices, often made in moments of great pressure or fleeting opportunity. Today, we journey across time to examine 10 of these crucial decisions, moments that echoed through the ages, shaping the very fabric of our world. Some led to unimaginable prosperity, while others to utter ruin. The Eastern Front of World War II was a theatre of unparalleled brutality. At the heart of this conflict lay a decision by Adolf Hitler that would seal the fate of Nazi Germany. In June of 1941, against the advice of his generals, Hitler unleashed Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. Initially, the Wehrmacht surged forward, carving deep into Soviet territory. But Hitler, blinded by hubris, had miscalculated. He underestimated the resolve of the Red Army and the vastness of the Russian landscape. The bitter Russian winter descended, transforming the battlefield into a frozen hellscape. German supply lines faltered and soldiers succumbed to frostbite and hypothermia. The Red Army launched devastating counter-offensives, pushing the Germans back. Hitler's invasion of Russia marked the beginning of the end for the Third Reich. History often repeats itself. Over a century before Hitler's campaign, Napoleon Bonaparte led the Grande Armée into Russia in 1812. Napoleon envisioned a swift and decisive campaign, but the Russians adopted a scorched earth policy, burning villages and destroying supplies. The French army, suffering from hunger and disease, found Moscow deserted and set ablaze. With winter approaching, Napoleon ordered a retreat. The retreat was a nightmare, with the army hounded by Cossack raiders and ravaged by the brutal winter. Of the 600,000 men who entered Russia, only a fraction returned. Napoleon's invasion shattered the myth of his invincibility. It set in motion the decline of his empire. The Russian landscape proved unforgiving to both Napoleon and Hitler. The tranquil waters of Pearl Harbor, Hawaii on December 7, 1941, belied the storm that was about to break. At 7:55 a.m., Japanese aircraft appeared in the skies above the U.S. Pacific Fleet's base. The attack, a meticulously planned surprise assault, plunged the United States into World War II. The Japanese, facing a US-led embargo, saw the attack as a preemptive strike. They believed crippling the US Pacific Fleet would buy them time to consolidate their gains in Southeast Asia. The attack was a tactical success. Japanese bombers wreaked havoc on the American fleet. Battleships were sunk or heavily damaged, and airfields bombed. Over 2,400 American servicemen and civilians were killed. The attack ignited a wave of outrage and patriotism in the US. The following day, President Franklin D. Roosevelt addressed Congress declaring war on Japan. The attack on Pearl Harbor had the opposite effect of what Japan intended. It united the US and led to their full-scale entry into World War II. A continent for a song, the Louisiana Purchase. In 1803, for $15 million, Napoleon Bonaparte sold a vast territory to the United States, doubling the young nation's size overnight. The Louisiana Territory stretched from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains. Napoleon needed funds for his wars in Europe and had lost the colony of Saint-Domingue. The purchase removed a major European power from US borders and provided land for westward expansion. It gave the young nation control of the strategically vital Mississippi River. The Bear Trap, the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. In December 1979, the Soviet Union sent its armed forces into Afghanistan. They underestimated the fierce resistance of the Afghan Mujahideen. The mountainous terrain became a graveyard for Soviet tanks and helicopters. The war drained the Soviet economy and contributed to its eventual collapse. The invasion internationalized the conflict and radicalized a generation of Afghan fighters. The noble experiment gone wrong. The Prohibition era in America. In 1920, the United States outlawed the manufacture, sale, and transportation of alcohol. Prohibition gave rise to a thriving black market for alcohol and organized crime. Notorious gangsters like Al Capone amassed fortunes smuggling and selling illicit alcohol. By the early 1930s, it was clear that prohibition had failed. In 1933, the 21st Amendment repealed prohibition. A blind eye to the future. Kodak and the digital revolution. Eastman Kodak, synonymous with photography, failed to adapt to the digital revolution. In 1975, a Kodak engineer invented the first digital camera. Kodak, fearing disruption to their film business, ignored the invention. By the late 1990s, digital photography was not a fad. Consumers abandoned film for the convenience of digital photography. Kodak was slow to react and lost market dominance to companies like Sony and Canon. The company, once a behemoth, struggled to survive in the digital age. Kodak's downfall is a cautionary tale of missed opportunities. The relentless march of technological innovation waits for no one. The twilight of the Tsars, the Romanovs and the Russian Revolution. In 1917, the Romanov dynasty's reign came to a bloody end. Tsar Nicholas II, inheriting a troubled empire, clung to autocracy. World War I exposed the incompetence of the Tsarist regime. By 1917, Russia was on the brink of collapse. Strikes and demonstrations in Petrograd escalated into a revolution. Nicholas abdicated, ending the Romanov dynasty. The Tsar and his family were executed by Bolshevik revolutionaries. The closing of the gate. China turns inward. In the early 15th century, the Ming dynasty abandoned maritime ambitions. Admiral Zheng He led grand voyages projecting Chinese power. A faction at court viewed these voyages as unnecessary. In 1433, the new emperor ordered an end to the voyages. The treasure ships were left to rot in harbor. China's decision ceded control of the seas to European powers. This decision shaped China's destiny for centuries. Seward's Folly, the Alaska Purchase. In 1867, the United States purchased Alaska from Russia for $7.2 million. Critics ridiculed the deal as Seward's Folly. Alaska was known for its harsh climate and wildlife. Seward saw its strategic importance and potential for resources. The discovery of gold in 1896 transformed Alaska's economy. During World War II, Alaska served as a vital airbase. The purchase proved to be one of the most astute in history. What will define our time? From military blunders to technological blindness, these 10 decisions echo through the corridors of history, shaping the world we know today. The leaders and innovators of the past, faced with impossible choices, often determined the fate of nations and empires with a single decree or a moment of hesitation. As we navigate the complexities of our own time, we too stand at the precipice of history. The decisions we make today, both individually and collectively, will reverberate through generations to come. What will our legacy be? What choices will define our era? The answers lie within each of us.